There's this silent poison that can seep into any team's culture. And it often starts with something that seems totally harmless, like a coffee run. It's those small, untracked expenses, office supplies, a team lunch, that seem so minor, but they can create these huge fractures in trust.
I want you to think about this for a second. Have you ever been on a really great team that just fell apart? It's rarely some big, dramatic blow-up, right? It's usually the small stuff, the little issues that just fester under the surface.
Okay, so get this. I have personally seen a team completely implode over a single $47 lunch expense. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But here's the thing. The amount itself is totally irrelevant. It was never about the money. It was a symbol of a way deeper problem.
And that's what this all boils down to, really. It's a fundamental truth. The trust you build around money, well, it's the bedrock of any working relationship. And when that foundation cracks, everything you built on top of it is at risk of crumbling.
So why does this happen? To really get to the bottom of it, we've got to look past the dollars and cents. We need to uncover this hidden threat, something called financial opacity.
And this is the key insight, right here. When your team is arguing about who owes who for pizza, you're not having an accounting problem. You're having a trust problem. See, our brains just hate ambiguity. When facts are missing, we fill in the gaps with our own stories, and usually they're not very positive. The whole messy money thing is just the symptom you can see.
And wow, are these symptoms toxic. When you don't have that financial visibility, people just start making assumptions. Teammates get second-guessed. You hesitate to front money for something the team needs because, honestly, you're not sure you'll get it back. All this just quietly builds resentment. And that absolutely crucial feeling of psychological safety, the belief you can speak up without being punished, it just vanishes.
Okay, so what do we do about this? Well, the solution is a concept that kind of flips the whole problem on its head, the shared wallet. But it's probably not what you're thinking. Let's dig into a new definition.
Now, when you hear shared wallet, you're probably picturing a joint bank account or something. But it's so much more than that. It's a philosophy. It's an active commitment from every single person on the team to be completely transparent. It's basically everyone saying, hey, we're a single unit here, and we trust each other enough to see exactly what's going on with our shared resources.
So let's break down the difference. On one hand, you've got the old way. It's just chaos, right? There's one poor soul who becomes the unofficial team accountant, buried in receipts. Everyone else is just trying to remember who paid for what. And then you've got the shared way. It's just clarity. Everyone can see the numbers, balances are updated in real time, and you get accountability without that creepy feeling that you're being watched. It just levels the playing field completely.
So what actually happens when a team decides to embrace this shared way? The results are, well, they're pretty incredible, and they happen fast. We call this the transparency effect.
And this, right here, is the absolute game changer. As soon as everyone has access to the exact same information, conversations about money stop being these vague, awkward, top-down orders. They become smart, collaborative decisions.
Just look at this example. Instead of a boss saying, hey everyone, keep costs down, the conversation totally shifts. It becomes, so the data shows nobody is really using this software subscription. Should we cut it? The team can actually make an informed choice together. They might even look at the numbers and realize, you know what? These team lunches are actually a huge boost for morale. They're totally worth it.
Now, the only way any of this works is if the tools you use are super easy, like zero friction. We're not talking about tedious expense reports. We're talking about logging something in seconds. The math is done for you, balances update automatically, and clear reports show you exactly where the money's going. The easier it is, the more likely the team is to actually do it.
And all of this brings us to the real payoff, the big one, the ultimate reason this all matters so much. Let's call it the trust dividend.
When you really, truly get the process of managing shared money right,
You know what happens? The awkward, anxious, and distracting conversations about it, they just stop. It sounds backwards, I know, but total transparency makes money a non-issue.
And all of that brain power, all that mental energy that was being wasted worrying about who paid for what,
it gets put right back into the work that actually matters, the stuff you all got together to do in the first place, solving problems and focusing on your mission.
And think about it. If a team could be totally honest about money, which is a super touchy subject, they can be honest about anything. They start challenging ideas more directly, they admit mistakes faster, and they build that deep-seated psychological safety that you only see in the most elite teams.
Okay, so you might be thinking, this sounds great, but it also sounds like a lot of work. But it doesn't have to be a huge, complicated project. The key is to just start simple and focus on building that habit of trust.
It really just comes down to 3 things. First, find a tool that is genuinely effortless to use. Second, build the habit of logging expenses the moment they happen, not at the end of the week. And third, and this is so important, don't aim for perfect bookkeeping. That's not the point. The point is consistent transparency.
Because at the end of the day, that's what you're really building. A culture where being transparent isn't some special initiative, it's just how you operate. It's the default setting.
And isn't it funny how it all comes back to where we started? Building this incredible culture of trust doesn't begin in some big strategy meeting. It starts with the simplest, most common interaction your team has. Who paid for coffee?
So, let's leave you with this one last thought. Shared wallets, they aren't really about money, are they? They're a way to build and prove trust. So the real question you should ask yourself is your team built on it?